Well, the Cleveland Indians didn't win the world championship, but I don't think they let us down. That was a terrific baseball game, and they gave it their all, everything they had. I was saying to Michael and Pat before Mass that you have two very excellent baseball teams, and so it's difficult to play, and someone has to lose. But they are champions in our minds. I wish we could all personally say thank you to them for a great season of baseball. That's really what it has to be about. And so, in my mind, they were national champions, and that carries a lot of weight with me. And they worked hard for it. So today I've been saying some prayers for them just to bolster their spirits and let them know that they didn't let us down. They played as well as they possibly could to the end. And isn't that what we're supposed to do in life? Do as well as we can, no matter what. St. Martin de Porres was born in 1579, and he died in 1639, 60 years old. He was born in Lima, Peru. His father was a Spaniard, and his mother was a frayed black slave. And she raised him to be a Christian. She raised him and taught him the Christian life and the Christian faith. And he became a nurse and a pharmacist. He was considered to be on the lower level of society because of his mixed blood. And his father, though, his mother and father never married, but his father tried to prevent him from entering the Dominican order as a lay tertiary. And his father didn't like that at all, but Martin still went and joined the Dominicans. His father eventually became the governor of Panama, was a very prominent man. Martin de Porres was a man who truly loved God. He saw in every person he met, he saw that they saw them as children of God and brothers and sisters to himself. And that's how he could serve them the way he did. As a nurse, he became head of the infirmary at the priory, taking care of all of the monks who were ill. Eventually, he reached out in his whole apostolate was taking care of the poor and the sick. He was often sought after for spiritual guidance. Even people, men and women of high rank in society, would come to Martin de Porres for spiritual advice. He died at the age of 60, just worn out from the apostolate that he was doing, as well as the many penitential practices that he did. A fine example of living a life of humility on this earth, loving and serving God, as the gospel says tonight, and doing it for the love of neighbor. St. Martin eventually became a lay brother in the Dominican order. So we give thanks for the witness of his life tonight. He's a fine example to us of placing God first in our lives and doing the best that we can with the talents and gifts God has given us. St. Martin was a fine example. Pope John the 23rd canonized him in 1962, and he called him Martin the Charitable. And he said in his homily that if everybody could imitate Martin de Porres in their personal lives, it would change the world. And it was to hear a simple young man who showed by the way he lived every day his love for God. And so it's a great example for us. He trusted in God. He hoped in God. His focus was fixed on eternal life, not only for himself, but for anybody else that he could help to get there. And that's to one degree or another what all of us are supposed to do. So it's a great saint, and we ask him to bless us. He's the patron saint of social work in our world, and he is also the patron saint of nurses and pharmacists. And there's one other thing which I can't remember. But so he's a good example to us. Let us stand now and offer our prayers and petitions.